Deep in a vast and peaceful forest lived a cute little bear named Bubu. Bubu was a very friendly and helpful bear with soft, brown fur, a round body, and shiny black eyes that were always full of curiosity and joy. Every day, he happily explored the forest, playing with his animal friends. To Bubu, every tree and every stream in the forest felt like a precious treasure point. One of Bubu's favorite things was spending time with his best friends. His friends included a mischievous little rabbit named Mimi, a clever little bird named Lulu, and a cheerful little fox named Fifi. They often went on adventures together, discovering new and exciting things in the forest, and sometimes they would help animals in need. These happy and adventurous days made Bubu feel joyful and content. One day, while Bubu and his friends were playing in a vast meadow, the sky suddenly grew dark, and clouds began to gather. As the wind started picking up, Bubu and his friends felt a chill in the air. Mimi tugged at Bubu's fur, worried. "Bubu, it looks like a big storm is coming. What should we do?" Lulu was flying overhead, circling nervously. "I saw the big trees swaying in the wind from far away. This storm looks serious." Bubu furrowed his brow, thinking quickly. He knew they needed to find a safe place to shelter from the storm. Suddenly, an idea struck him. "We can go to Uncle Squirrel's house. His burrow is deep and safe. Everyone can take shelter there from the storm." Mimi, Lulu, and Fifi all nodded in agreement and quickly followed Bubu as they ran toward Uncle Squirrel's home. By the time they reached Uncle Squirrel's burrow, the wind had become fierce, and rain was beginning to pour down. Bubu knocked urgently on the door of the burrow. From inside, Uncle Squirrel's voice called out, "Who is it?" Bubu shouted over the howling wind, "It's us, Bubu and friends. We need a place to stay during the storm." The door quickly opened, and Uncle Squirrel smiled warmly. "Come in, kids, come in. This storm came so suddenly, but you're lucky to have found your way here." Inside the burrow, the wind and rain continued to rage outside, but the burrow was warm and cozy. Uncle Squirrel offered them some dried nuts and warm blankets, allowing them to rest and feel safe. Bubu gratefully said, "Thank you, Uncle Squirrel. If it weren't for you, we'd still be out there getting soaked by the rain." Uncle Squirrel chuckled and patted Bubu's head. "It's nothing, Bubu. My home is always open to you all. Besides, you're a very smart little bear for thinking to come here. I'm proud of you." Bubu smiled but humbly replied, "It was a team effort, and I just did what anyone would do." The storm raged on for several hours, but everyone stayed warm and safe in Uncle Squirrel's burrow. When morning finally came, the sun broke through the clouds, and the storm subsided. Bubu and his friends stepped out of the burrow to see the forest, which, despite the storm's chaos, was still full of life. The leaves glistened in the sunlight, and the streams quietly trickled through the grass, making everything seem fresh and new. Bubu took a deep breath of the crisp air and said to his friends, "What a wonderful experience this has been. We've weathered the storm together, and now let's go help any animals that might need assistance after the storm." Mimi, Lulu, and Fifi all agreed, knowing that the storm might have caused damage to some animals' homes, and they were eager to lend a helping hand, and so, Bubu and his friends began moving through the forest, looking for any animals in need of help. They helped birds rebuild their nests, assisted rabbits in organizing their burrows, and helped foxes clean up the food stores that had been blown around by the storm. Bubu wasn't just a brave adventurer, he had a big heart and was always willing to help others. His actions brought warmth and gratitude to all the animals of the forest. Over time, Bubu became the most beloved friend in the forest. It wasn't just because of his bravery and cleverness, but because he was always ready to lend a helping hand, no matter what challenges arose. Whether it was a big storm or a small problem, Bubu was always the first to think of how to help others. The other animals of the forest began to learn from Bubu's kindness and spirit of cooperation, and they too started to look out for one another. The forest became a more loving and harmonious place because of Bubu's example. Whenever trouble arose, the animals would gather together to solve the problem rather than only thinking of themselves. This sense of community made the forest feel even warmer and more united, and each animal felt like they were part of a large, caring family. One day, little Fifi the fox was playing in the forest when she accidentally fell into a small pit and couldn't climb out. Panicking, she shouted, "Help! Can someone help me?" Luckily, Bubu and Mimi were nearby, and they heard Fifi's cries for help. They rushed over and quickly came up with a plan to rescue her. Bubu used his strength, and Mimi used her quick thinking to find a long branch. They lowered the branch into the pit and had Fifi grab hold of it. Working together, they pulled her to safety. As soon as Fifi was out, she threw her arms around Bubu and said, "Thank you, Bubu. I don't know what I would have done without you." Bubu smiled and said, "It's nothing, Fifi. That's what friends are for, right? We help each other out." From that day forward, Bubu's role as the forest's most dependable friend became even more solidified. Anytime someone was in trouble, their first thought was to find Bubu because they knew he would always come up with a good solution and help with his kind heart. The animals of the forest also began to help one another more, just like Bubu, and the whole forest became a friendlier and more supportive place. As the days went by, Bubu continued to lead a life full of love and adventure. He still explored the forest with his friends every day, discovering new things and lending a helping hand wherever it was needed. Though challenges came and went, Bubu always believed that as long as everyone stuck together and helped one another, there was no problem they couldn't overcome, and so, Bubu and his friends lived happily in their forest, which grew more beautiful and full of love thanks to Bubu's kindness and bravery. Every night, the animals would gather to share stories about their day, strengthening their bonds of friendship even more. Bubu looked at all this with great contentment, knowing that as long as they were together, their future would always be bright and full of happiness. This story teaches us that no matter where we are, if we are willing to lend a helping hand and care for others, our world will become a better, kinder place. Do you still like today's story? If you like, please remember to subscribe to this channel and click the like icon. You can receive notifications and hear the latest stories as soon as possible. Good night, my baby.